Hello and welcome everyone. In this tutorials we are going to cover how to deploy a completely private Google Kubernetes engine cluster using Terraform. This is going to be a complete end-to-end deployment which is going to set up a custom VPC subnet which is going to have its own pods and service IPs. This will be utilized by the pods and service running inside the Kubernetes. It is also going to create an SSH enabled jump host for all the kubectl operations like managing the pods, services, and managing the cluster operations. So let's get into it. So the cluster that we are going to create uses two modules: the Google container cluster, in which we are going to disable the default node pool, and we are going to use Google container node pool module which creates a custom node pool. The cluster is made private by including a private cluster config block. We are also going to use master authorized network config block to add just one IP, that is nothing but the jump host IP, to run the kubectl commands. The jump host. So as informed earlier, we are going to create a jump host to run the kubectl commands for managing the cluster. This jump host is going to be created using standard CentOS 7 image. SSH will be enabled and allowed only through the SSH key based auth. So the key from the local host will be used for this SSH. And the kubectl installation and CRED association will be done using the compute meta block inside the compute module of the Terraform. The network. So the network resources that we are going to create for this cluster is a custom VPC. Is also going to have a secondary IP ranges. We are also going to create cloud router and cloud NAT. This is created to enable the cluster to communicate with the external resource like private registries or Docker registries for all the Docker images. So this is what our architecture is going to look like. So the master gets created by default, and it is actually created in the Google's internal VPC. We actually don't have a direct access to the master or the anything in the Google's internal VPC. The worker nodes get created on the custom VPC that we create, and by default there will be a VPC peering between the worker nodes VPC and the master VPC. We are also going to create a jump host, remember, so that is going to be used for our kubectl commands to manage the cluster. The cloud NAT acts as an external gateway for our worker nodes for all its requirement to fetch anything from internet like Docker images from Docker.io or any other private registries. Let's have a look at the code now. So this is how our git repos file layout will look like. So we have a main file where we are declaring the provider as well as the Terraform backend. The cluster file contains the cluster module as well as the node pool module. In the cluster module we are creating a block called private cluster config block. This is what tells the module that this is a private cluster. The compute file contains the configs related to our jump host node. We have an IO file which contains all the variables required as well as the outputs that we want to be displayed. The network file contains the custom VPC subnets, the NAT and the cloud router that we are going to set up for our external communication from our worker nodes. The startup script that we are passing to the jump host basically contains the kubectl setup. It contains few commands where we are getting the credentials from the cluster. Also has few commands where we are setting master authorized networks. Okay, so let's get into the demo. So I'll be running the demo at a slightly faster rate here because cluster creation easily takes up 15 to 20 minutes and I don't want to eat everyone's precious time up here. So let's get into the demo. So that's it for the demo, guys. I will be including the Git repos link in the video description below. Please go through it and let me know in case you have any doubts and queries. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more DevOps tutorials lined up for you guys. See you later.